Easter is coming and I have the perfect idea. I think I need a few eggs. First, I'm going to give my eggs a light coat of primer. Now I'm ready to start my tree while my eggs are drying. I'm using a styrofoam cone that's about 18 inches tall. An assortment of moss. I've got green sphagnum moss, some gray Spanish moss, and green Spanish moss. I like to mix the moss up so I get a natural look. I'm using a glue gun and floral pins to attach the moss to the styrofoam tree. Simply place your glue on your tree, then grab a piece of moss, place it onto the cone over the hot glue, and if you need extra security, you can add one of the floral pins. I like to mix the moss up, as I said, to keep it very natural looking. So continue this process until you've finished the entire top of the tree. Once your tree is finished, you're then going to place your trunk to your topiary into the tree. I chose a piece of driftwood. I simply created a hole by pushing the driftwood into the styrofoam. Then I added some hot glue and placed my driftwood into the hole. You want to make sure it's straight, so check it twice. You want to cover the bottom edge of the tree with moss. Using your glue gun, squirt the glue onto the styrofoam and place the moss over the glue. Now that we've completed our topiary, we want to put it into a container. I chose this rustic bucket. I took a piece of styrofoam, I cut it into 3 pieces, and then I simply hot glued it into the bucket. I then took my tree, created a hole into the styrofoam, cut it out, put some hot glue, and secured my topiary into the bucket. Now that my eggs are dry, I'm going to paint them with some acrylic paint. I'm not really sure you needed the primer, but I wasn't sure if the gold color was going to show through. So I'm going to place some paint into my paint tray. I'm using an assortment of blue shades of blue, and I'm going to do that by using a darker blue and adding white paint to get a variety of colors. So I sort of have an ombre look to my eggs. So I'm just simply going to mix the two together. I'm going to just add a little bit of blue to my white. I have these great sticks that have sort of a pointed edge, and the eggs have a hole. So I just put the egg onto the stick, and then I paint the egg. This is actually a candied apple skewer that I purchased on Amazon. Once I've painted the egg, I give it a good coat, and then I'm going to stand it upright in a piece of styrofoam to dry. I find this method works really well to let the eggs dry so that they don't touch each other. And you can get about 8 or 9 into one block. You can see where I have my holes, and I'm going to place my eggs. Once you've placed it in the styrofoam, you can also give it a few extra brush strokes. I wanted to use a second method for painting to give a little bit of texture to some of my eggs. So for my beige eggs, I took a darker beige color, added some white paint, and added some baking soda. This method gives a nice texture to the eggs, and you will see it kind of has a little bit of a cement effect to it. Once I finished all of my eggs and they're sitting in the styrofoam, I like to use a hairdryer to speed up the drying process. Now I've completed painting all the different color of eggs that I want, and I'm going to add a little bit of speckle to them. I'm using a wire brush and some brown paint in my finger, just flicking the brush to create these spots. Now that we have all the components together, it's time to assemble our tree. So I'm simply using a hot glue gun to attach the eggs to the tree. I'm alternating my colors and the direction of the eggs as I continue all the way around the tree. I will tell you I started with 36 eggs, but I ended up needing another 15. Lastly, I'm going to use some moss and place it in between the eggs again. Remember those holes that were in the eggs? Well, I don't want to see them. So the moss in between the eggs does the trick. I'm just giving it one last look over to make sure that I've covered all the holes in the eggs and any empty space that there might be. And now I think I'm ready to style my tree. This was such a fun and easy project and looks fabulous on my dining room table. Thanks for watching Home Talk. See you next time.